I'm Becky Wade, and I'm from Dallas, Texas, and my book is called My Stubborn Heart. My book is about a hockey player whose wife died 3 years prior. He's left the ice and moved to a small town. And my heroine comes to that small town with her grandmother to renovate their old family home. And they hire the hero to work with them renovating their home. And it turns out that a lot of healing goes on, not just for the house, but for the characters involved as well. I was compelled to write My Stubborn Heart because I wanted to write a story about healing. And when I began to think about healing, I had the idea to write about a hockey player who had suffered the loss of his wife. And that was the basis for the story. Everything else came from that. I began to think then of what kind of woman he would need to meet who may be able to sort of heal that broken heart and that sadness and kind of begin to bring him out of that, and what kind of a faith journey that would mean for him too. I want to write romance because it's my favorite kind of book to read. I love romance novels. I always have. They've been my favorite kind of stories from the time I was in junior high school all the way up to the present. I even like romantic movies. You know, I've watched the BBC version of Pride and Prejudice countless times. It's just my cup of tea. I just love stories. And so when I came to it, it was just a natural fit for me to want to write one myself. That's what interests me most. And just the emotional journey between two characters was really compelling to me and interesting. Okay, Becky. Just finding the time. I'm a mother of 3, and my time is scarce. I stay at home to take care of them. And so I just wrote when I could, and kind of cobbled together a little bit of time here and there. Finally, when I had 2 in preschool, I was able to dedicate a lot of time that year, that school year, from the fall to the spring, to the book. And I was almost done right at kind of the ending scenes when I had my 3rd baby. And so that presented another big challenge during the course of the story. I had to set aside the manuscript for several months while I concentrated on trying to take care of her and get her sleeping through the night and all those kinds of things. But eventually, once I could catch my breath again, I picked the book back up and was more excited than ever to work on it as it was finished. My heroine, Kate, outwardly is not much like me. She's very, she's very thin and she's red-haired, and she's probably a lot more outgoing than I am. But inwardly, her thoughts and her sense of humor and her emotions are very much me. So I poured a lot of who I am on the inside into her character. Kate is a single girl in her early 30s, and she loves antiques, which I thought was kind of fun and different. And again, not necessarily like me, but I like that for her. She's kind of wry, I think, in her perspective on how she views herself and the people around her, which kind of makes her kind of special and has a unique point of view. And then my hero, Matt, I think is appealing just because he had reached such a high level in professional sports, and that's kind of unique and different. And that stands out about him. And also just his difficult past, what he had been through and how wounded he is when the story begins. And the big story arc, big transition he makes from where he begins to where he ends at the finish stands out for me.
Are you ready about hockey? You like hockey?
Well, hockey players are hot.
I mean, were you always from Dallas, or were you?
No, I grew up in Southern California, so we don't, we're not a big hockey state either. Before I had children, I pursued writing, and I was able to publish 3 historical romance novels with Avon. They were all American Texas set historicals. Once I had my first baby, I stopped writing completely. I took 7 years off to take care of baby 1 and baby 2 and then baby 3. I never felt quite right about the books that I had been writing for the secular market. I loved writing, and I loved writing romance novels, but it wasn't a perfect fit for me, and it didn't exactly square with how I'd been raised and what my personal beliefs were. And so when I came back to writing, I felt very much led to make the switch and to definitely this time get it right and write an inspirational manuscript. So when I was coming back, I felt God kind of nudging me to write again, and this time for Him. And it was really a true second chance that He gave me. It was a do-over to take any gift that He'd kind of given me and this time use it for the right purpose. So it was a fresh start, and I love when I'm writing. I feel it's a perfect fit for me and my personality and what I believe. So I hope that the books are inspiring on a spiritual level to the believers who read them. Am I done?
Yeah, you're done.
Okay.
Unless you have anything else you want to say.
Nope.